expected. Right, okay, so my presentation is about exploring participatory knowledge creation practices for tightening society attachment to the ocean. Let me put my glasses somewhere. What this presentation is about. The presentation discusses radically participatory practices in citizen science that mobilize both social and biological scientific methods for exploring, analyzing, and communicating also knowledges on the oceans. And I'm going to describe you very briefly a project that we are running together with Luisa Galgani, the other co-chair I mentioned before, and which is starting in some 10 days, hopefully. First of all, I suppose that if you are here, you are all quite familiar with citizen science and what citizen science is. Am I correct? Do you work with citizen science? Correct? Right, great. When I start talking with my colleagues in biological science and oceanography and chemistry and so on, I discovered anyway that we have a different understanding of citizen science. So what we understand as citizen science, as social scientists, is a very tiring process that engages you since the beginning in defining the research question, in framing the problem, and then in making research with people. So looking for data, the kind of data you want to analyze, and then collecting data, analyzing data, commenting on them, and working on outreaching, dissemination, and communication. This means that you are connected with the rest of the people you are working with for the whole duration of a research project, which is quite, it's quite tiring, as I say, but it's also quite rewarding. Why do we use participatory approaches, and notably citizen science, in doing academic research? From our perspective, it's very unlikely that we can make significant advancement in scientific knowledge by citizen science. Ta-da! And we have, in very few occasions, we can collect data that are fully reliable, verifiable, etc., etc. This is from our side. But it's very likely that citizen science can disrupt our perspective, put in question our research questions, help us at making scientific things public, and feed the democratic quality of the society, because under the pretext of collecting data, we open up public discussion about the state of things and the desired one. And that's the most important thing for us as geographers, sociologists, and political scientists. And of course, deal with disagreement, which is a key trait of whichever democratic society. Now, participation in ocean studies has been widely used, and you are for sure experts of this. In some cases, from my perspective, participation has been mainly used in a sort of extractive form. So we use citizens to collect data. We basically use citizens as sensors, so to say, or an extension of technical sensors, which is not really engaging for citizens themselves. So one of the main problems is, how can I keep attention? How can I maintain attention for the whole duration of a project after the people collect the data? And why they are not interested in something that is so engaging for me? And well, that's a key point also for social scientists. But of course, we try to find solutions by adopting participatory knowledge creation and sharing practices. So there are a few trivial rules that we can suggest for empathic connection in making participatory science, and especially citizen science. That includes listening, for instance. Listening is a key quality, again, for democratic societies. Sorry, but I have my background in political science, so these kind of things, such as democracy, always comes to my mind. So listening, people, listen, and also listening things that are unessential to your research is a key fundamental aspect for producing relationships, for getting in contact, for experiencing some kind of emotional connections with the people. And that's very important because it creates trust. They need to trust you. first of all. And then respect people's time and sensitivity. That's quite obvious, but when you work with topics such as, gender issues or religious issues or cultural problems, for instance, that's very important. You're not just collecting data on something which is external to the sensitivity of the people you are interviewing. You are working with their life, so to say. So it's very important that you respect their sensitivity. Spend time doing nothing, but just being there. So use trends at work, take a coffee, do something which is, again, unessential to your research, but is essential to create a relationship. Acknowledge competencies. So you are not teaching, you are learning, and you need to make people you are in contact with, you need to make them, you need to be sure that they feel the importance for you, that they are important, that their competencies are something that you acknowledge. It's not really important that you really acknowledge these competencies. It's important that this is the feeling that you pass to other people, you try to make people aware of. And build an existing problem. So don't impose problems, but try to work on problems that are already there. Very quickly, I'm going to show you a few slides about the project we are starting. We are just going to start in 10 days, as I said. The title is Participatory Citizen Science Against Marine Pollution. I'm sorry, because a part of the written balloon has been covered. I don't know why, probably the PDF. The idea is to propose a fully participatory citizen science process that combines natural and social science research and engage multiple citizen groups, including, for instance, schools, migrant fishermen, and sailors, seagoing people, etc., in data collection, elaboration, and sharing about the biological consequences of marine plastic pollution, and in drafting a plan for sustainability-oriented practices in a small coastal city, which is very close to Rome, some 50,000 inhabitants. The city, the small city, is the one you can see in the picture. This is the Fisherman Harbor, and it's a very interesting context because the local economy is highly dependent on the sea, and at the same time, it's a place where there is a current a massive debate about a plan for a new touristic harbor, which is very contested from local people, but at the same time, it has been the reason for why this former city council has been dismissed due to speculative investment and corruption. And so there is a momentum for the vibrancy of local association, which actually needs citizen science as an impetus for start doing something together from the grassroots. Of course, as in any citizen science project, we have core members who are three of us, me, Luisa, and a sailor and video maker who is the director of the Naval League in Italy. And we have citizen science groups, including fishermen, as I say, sailors, students, divers, surfers, and environmental and cultural association. And we have external stakeholders, including local administration, institutions, small enterprises, local museum, etc., etc. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. Okay, something is missing here. Okay, here was supposed to be a graph with the phases of the process. I'm going to tell you what was it about. Basically, we are going to have two collaboratoriums, so two collaborative meetings at the beginning and at the end of the process, 6 months project. And then we are going to bring people during the project in the sea on sailing boats to collect microplastics, and those microplastics are going to be analyzed, visual analysis, and then shipped to an external lab for analyzing the DNA of bacteria found on the microplastics. And then we got the results back, and we are going to discuss these results in training session with the people involved in the collection. And at the same time, we are going to have some expeditions on the sea with fishermen during the night to video documenting their fishing plastic routine. So the very fact that every time they go out for fishing, they collect a lot of garbage, a lot of plastics. And we want to use this kind of video documentation as a way for putting pressure on local administration for advancing sustainable practices, such as collecting the garbages that fishermen bring back to the in the harbor every day. And at the end of it all, we want to have the final collaboratorium, as I say, in which we want to propose a number of interventions, local interventions that can work a little bit. Of course, it's a drop in the sea, but can help to better the sustainability management of the area, of the coastal area and the sea. We obviously preliminary tested the use of a Newstone net on a sailing boat because we wanted to see whether it is feasible or not and under what conditions we can use it without further polluting with engines. So it's possible. You need to have enough wind, but it's possible. So this is just a few pictures of the test that we had. And we also try with some baby legs. Some of you may be familiar with them. Do-it-yourself tools that you can make with coolant, female coolant, and you can use some recycled bottles, and you use them, you can throw them and collect garbages and microplastic in the coolant. So it's something that we are going to make also with the citizens during our project in the next 6 months. Anticipated impact, of course, is creating strong relationships between local groups in a way that they can act in concerted way and increase awareness and sensitivity in general for plastic debris in the Mediterranean basin. And we, in the long term, of course, we'd like to see a closer interaction between civil society, institutions in a contested place to create sustainability plans for plastic in the sea, including initiatives on the coast that reduce the presence of the plastic. So basically, to conclude, our project is intended to overcome the extractive approach in citizen science, so the idea of citizens as sensors, promoting a fully participatory process, to advance a multidisciplinary perspective, which is another thing which is quite complex, doing at the same time social and natural research is quite complex, combining them together, and overcome the problem of inaccessibility of the marine environment for lay citizens, thanks to the collaboration with the Sailor Society and also the video makers and the photographers that can access the bottom of the sea where people normally can't go, and so bring back some kind of documentation about it. And of course, also contributes to the scientific research. But first of all, our idea is that citizen science is to make science public. So we hope this way we will be able to contribute just a little bit, and hope in the next conference we will be able to show you the results. So thanks very much.